You are a mum.
Yeah.
You know, little Mason is now, how old's Mason?
He turns 2 on Friday.
Happy birthday on Friday, Mason.
Thank you.
But so the question is, you know, you have the opportunity to breed the next CrossFitter.
Oof.
So the question is, and the answer cannot be, I'm just going to make Mason do CrossFit from a young age. For someone, you know, who you did lots of different things
Yeah.
that led you to be successful in it. If the goal was to create the next Tia Toomey
Okay.
or the next Matt Fraser, the next champ, what sports would you put your child into and why?
So I think if we're gonna
Bear
go,
in mind, there's only 7 days in a week, so you can't pick like 50 different things.
what? No
So
way.
let's say we're gonna cap it at 3.
Okay.
3 different sports or activities.
Yeah. Oh, I can give you 2 that I'm gonna choose.
Okay, you already know.
because like Mark and I have actually spoken about this.
Yeah.
I would love him Mason to be confident with his body in terms of gymnastics.
Yeah.
So for me, gymnastics is one.
And is this like just general gymnastics? So
General
you're doing a bit of
gymnastics.
everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
I also think a high level, I mean, I don't know, I haven't done it, but a high level gymnast, I don't think is also the healthiest for your body either.
I think high level anything.
That's what
is
I mean.
Necessary there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
like,
just gymnastics in general.
gymnastics,
Because that's going to teach body awareness.
body awareness.
They do a lot of mobility work as
Yeah.
well in gymnastics.
Yeah. Keeps you functionally strong.
Trunk work.
Trunk work. I would love him to be able to do handstands with him one day.
Yeah.
So yeah, gymnastics. I also love the kind of camaraderie of rugby. I love the team element of it. I love.
But you know he could turn out like this.
I know, but he could also turn out like Mark.
He could also, but Mark was a gymnast as well.
He also was a rugby player.
He was a rugby player, but Mark had the gymnastics.
So this is what I'm saying. The
Right.
two go really well
So
together.
what about rugby do you think would lend him to be, him or her to be a great CrossFitter?
In terms of fitness.
Yeah.
In terms of strength output.
Yeah.
In terms of having a community and a team around you. I also really like that, the team around you having that support system and doing something as a team, I think is really important and something I didn't really have growing up.
Yeah. Do you think that the team aspect, being a team athlete, would serve you being an individual athlete in later life?
Yes, because I think it's important to go through. I think you can learn so much more as a team than you can as an individual.
Yeah.
So I think learning more by going through something as a team can definitely help you as an individual later on in life.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I would also say that when you're only doing team stuff, though, there's a lot of things that are quite. I definitely know when I transitioned into CrossFit, it's the first time I'd ever done individual sport. Everything had always been teams, and there was a lot of challenges that I found unique to maybe like what you experienced being in a team that I'd never dealt with as an individual competitor.
You got no rest.
Yeah, it's not. It's just, you know, it's just, I guess the things that I found challenging was that in team sports, like it can be like one big moment for someone on your team can really just shift momentum in a game.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in rugby, like your teammate puts in a huge hit and you turn over the ball. It can like just that. It can be something that's totally nothing related to do with you.
Yeah.
That can totally change a swing of a match or a game.
True. Just the vibe and the energy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And as well, like feeding off one another. As an individual athlete, I just didn't have that. I was like, who do I feed off now? Like, I don't have.
Got to build that up myself somehow.
I have to totally build it up by myself. And it's just something I always really enjoyed with team sports, which is just like the sharing of like wins and losses.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you celebrate together and you mourn kind of in the same way together. And it was just like, that was a very powerful thing.
Yeah. The camaraderie.
Yeah. Just created like really unique bonds with the people around you, whether you won or you lost.
Yeah.
And I think not having that in CrossFit was kind of like,
isolating.
Yeah. Who do I bond over this loss or this win with? There was a lot of skills that I had to learn to be an individual competitor that didn't come very naturally to me.
Yeah.
Something that did come naturally to me was like the idea of winning and losing.
Yeah.
Like what I see a lot in adults who come to CrossFit and then find themselves in a competitive space, they really struggle with like the whole idea of winning and losing.
Yeah.
And it's like when they lose or something doesn't go their way, it's like the whole world is ending. And it's like, that's something I think, you know, we take for granted when you play sports as a kid. Then it's like, you know, you develop tools to know how to handle
Yep.
wins and how to handle losses, and it's just like
I've already visualized that, like trying to how to have that conversation with Mason one day.
Yeah.
And like how to be okay with losing. Like I've already started all thinking about all of that, knowing that I'm gonna have to go through that one day with him.
I've thought about that already, even
It's
though
a really
we don't
tough
have a
one.
child.
It's really tough to think about how you're gonna teach someone that, yeah, we want to win, but it's okay to lose.
Yeah, I think the way that I want to, if I'm ever fortunate enough to have a child,
Yeah.
the way that I want to have a conversation, or I guess like the way that I want to expose them to the idea of like winning and losing is actually like to try and not make it about winning and losing,
100%.
and actually to have it
That's
to be
awesome.
to make it around like effort and things within your control, and actually like the result is
not the focus,
not the thing.
Yeah. That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, and I want to have conversations around that, and it's going to be hard because I'm a very competitive person and I love winning.
Yeah.
Right, I'll turn anything into a competition
Same.
if I can. And I also know that I need to be leading by example, and this is something I think about a lot now. But
Yeah.
still, like if me and Cammy go play tennis, like I want to beat her,
100%.
and it's really enjoyable winning, and I need to be aware of that.
Does she win sometimes?
No.
Oh man.
No, she doesn't. Sometimes I give her a little point or something here and there.
Oh.
Yeah, but then I'll make
That's
sure.
nice
like,
of you.
Yeah, it is nice of me. But I'll make sure that
she knows
authority is stamped to the next point.
She knows it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's how I want to go about it, because for me in sport growing up, I didn't have that. It was always about winning.
Yeah.
It was about passing the exams. It's not just my mum and dad at all. It's like everyone. That's a culture that you grow up in, and that's what your coaches are saying, and then that's what everyone's saying. If you don't do well, you don't get selected. You don't get the university that you want to go to. So like a lot of it is built around the result,
the winning.
So it is going to be a challenge to like
try
the result is still
break
important.
that cycle.
The result is still important, but to make sure there's not too much precedence just placed on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
what sports would you choose?
Gymnastics for sure.
Yeah.
Like I think it's so. I wish I did gymnastics as a kid.
Me too.
But I think like tumbling, body awareness, like mobility. Yeah, I think it's a really cool thing.
Can we join our kids for gymnastics?
Well, I would 100% join.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So I think gymnastics for sure. I think it's a very well-rounded thing to do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick rugby.
No?
No, I love the team aspect of rugby.
Yeah.
I really love the team aspect of rugby. I think rugby really teaches you to like be able to handle like hard things.
That's
like
also what I was going to say, to be physically be challenged.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I think that is a pro that would come from do something like rugby, and I love the team aspect, the team element. I guess it's like I'll like play devil's advocate to yours and say, okay, if the goal was really just to get
better at CrossFit.
a better like the CrossFitter, like does team sports help? Like I personally would 100% put my kids into team sports because I think it's a great thing for life in general.
Yeah.
But if the goal was just to breed the next champ, I don't know. Maybe it would.
No, you're right.
But I think even as an individual, you still have a team around you. It's very different though. Like the team is a support network off the field or off the court, whatever it is you're doing. But when you're out there, it's just you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What else would I do? So let me think. Let's think about what gymnastics is exposing a child to. It's body awareness.
Yeah.
It's mobility.
Yes.
It's relative strength, right?
Yes.
Because it's your body weight, which I think is a very good starting place. What it's not really doing from an energy system training standpoint, like you're not doing, it's not really building an aerobic system.
Yeah.
It's very like fast and explosive in most cases. It can be like enduring, but it's muscle endurance. So I think gymnastics is not going to give the kid the energy system capabilities that would be needed to be a good CrossFitter. So the question is like, what would you choose to give your kid that? I didn't, wrestling is not a thing where I grew up. It just didn't exist. So wrestling is something I've become aware of basically since doing CrossFit and hanging out with way more Americans, because they're all like, oh, we do wrestling in school. And a lot of great CrossFitters have wrestling backgrounds.
Wow.
And I think wrestling, again, is relative strength again.
Yeah.
But I would say like there's a lot of isometrics, a lot of grip strength. And you need really good body awareness and mobility.
Yeah.
And there's like the robustness that wrestling teaches you that rugby probably does.
Yes.
But still, from an energy system standpoint, I think Twarzon did wrestling. at school.
That makes so much sense.
Makes sense in some ways, but he's also really soft. So he didn't get that aspect. But I could see like the mobility, and the powerful, and like the stature. He's like, I could see how I could picture him in a wrestling suit.
Can you just imagine him in a fight?
No, absolutely not. He's
like
just,
a chihuahua on the end of one of those little toys that just won't let go.
He's just, I mean, he's too nice. He's too nice of a man. There's a compliment. There's a compliment as to why we couldn't see him in a fight. So wrestling, I think, would be in a way similar to gymnastics, but I think it would give like the shorter, like the more like non-sustainable energy system stuff. So like sub 3 minutes, be powerful, be aggressive, be really strong, and be really mobile. So there still has to be something that's going to expose them to like the middle to longer energy system stuff.
I've got one to throw in there. What about like triathlons?
Yeah, I was just thinking triathlons.
Because as soon as you started talking about energy systems, I was like,
I think something like that would be really cool, because you get triathlons is pretty cool because you've got three modalities. It's long. So you're developing skill sets of swimming, biking, and running. And running's obviously super important.
Yeah.
I think if you had a kid who was doing triathlons on a Monday, they're doing gymnastics on a Wednesday, they're wrestling on a Friday.
Dream.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, the only thing we haven't addressed is like weightlifting. But I'm confident
they could pick that up.
They would pick it up.
Yeah.
Because they'd have the strength, the grit from wrestling. They have the mobility and body awareness through gymnastics.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing with gymnastics is not good is that kids generally develop, like, they have weak legs when they do gymnastics. Very, very upper body biased.
Yeah.
So I think wrestling would kind of add that element to it as well.
And you know, the long distance cycling in the triathlon.
Yeah,
there we go.
Sure. Okay, there we go.
It's quite a good all rounder.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's it.